let's get started. Okay, folks, just for the people who have just joined us, we are the Chinatown Detective Agency development team. I've got with me. I'm gonna go clockwise. So we've got Rik Godwin. He is our writer and narrative designer. He's
Hello.
been responsible for. Yeah, hey, Rik. Why don't you know what? Instead of me yapping around, why don't you go introduce yourself?
Oh, well, okay. Well, I'm Rik. As Mark said, I'm writer and narrative designer on Chinatown, and we've all chosen themed backgrounds from the game. So this is London because I am from the UK.
Cool, thanks a lot, Rik. And next to Rik in the chat window is our awesome programmer, Chai. And you can already kind of guess where she's from because of the background. Hey, Chai, say hi to the audience.
Paris. So I'm the programmer, one of the programmers on the game, doing our best to get it ready and out. And I'm currently in Paris.
Yes, and
now.
she's doing an awesome job at it. And yes, I'm Mark. I'm one of the members of the team, and I've actually this isn't where I live. Actually, this is a city in China called Chengdu, but it's one of my favorites. I think Ricardo, who's to my left, did a wonderful job. Ricardo's our art director. Hey, Ricardo, say hi to the audience.
That's magic. I'm Ricardo, the art director of Chinatown Detective Agency. I'm from Brazil. This is Rio de Janeiro for the game, or in Brazilian Portuguese, Rio de Janeiro. We are here to talk with you about
How
life.
amazing you are.
Yeah.
No,
We're here to
I'm
talk
shy.
about how amazing your art is, basically.
Basically, well, look, folks, the theme of today's stream is actually the in-game locations, because Chinatown Detective Agency, a lot of the game mechanics, in fact, the very concept of the game itself revolves around travel, specifically getting the main character Amira to travel around the world while she's looking for leads, clues, criminal masterminds, and stuff like that. So since we've pretty much wrapped up, well, we've almost wrapped up all of the visual assets for the game, we thought it would be a great time to kind of share some of this stuff with you. And correct me if I'm wrong, Ricardo, we ended up doing something like 105, right? 105 background locations for the game from our initial estimate of 30. We thought 30 was what we were going to do for the game.
Yeah, and lots of them, they got variations from daytime, so
Yeah.
that's a little bit of work.
Yeah, that's right. So what Ricardo is referring to is that with some of the international cities, depending on the time of the day that you travel to that city, you'll see that city during the nighttime. As you can see in Rik's background, he's in London during the evening, and in Shai's background, she's in Paris in the afternoon. And and Ricardo and mine, in our backgrounds, we've got our cities during the morning time. So these little variations really add a lot of depth to the game. But you know what? Without further ado, let's just get into the game and let's just show them around. Let's get them to travel. So let's get into it. Let me get to the game. So I've already pretty much loaded up a pre-saved game, and it was important that I loaded this up because you need money to travel, and when the game starts, you don't have a lot of money. So I wanted to make sure that I at least had some funds in my account to begin with. So this is Samira. For those of you who've played the prologue, you'll notice that this is her detective agency. This is the office where she operates from. And basically, throughout the game, missions and clues and leads will take you to different parts of the world. And you do that by actually going into this booking system called Horus. So Chai and Jenny and our programming team had to build this from scratch, had to build an actual a flight booking system within the game. And it works just like any other flight booking system. So I'm gonna get, so,
Mark,
yeah.
Mark, try to put the game on not on window mode because the cameras went down on the stream.
Oh, okay, sure. 1 second.
Yeah, it came back. It came back right now.
Okay. Sorry, folks. It might come on and off sometimes like that. So please just bear with us. But what I want to do is I want to get Rik to start off by recommending a city to travel to. Rik, where are we going?
Ooh, let me have a look. So let's. So we're obviously going from Singapore because that's where Mira's office is based.
Yep.
Surprisingly enough, in the Chinatown region of Singapore.
Mm-hmm.
So let's have a look down. If you want to click on the drop-down
Sure.
menu, Mark. So let's see what options we've got.
I got you, fam. So from Singapore to London, Istanbul, Osaka, Athens, Shanghai, KL, HK, Cairo, New Delhi, Paris, Toronto, Victoria, Ciudad de Mexico, Dubai, Brasilia,
yeah.
Dubai. Brasilia, unfortunately, isn't going to make it to the final version of the game. However, we do have Rio, Dubai, Boston, San Francisco, Jerusalem, and Tampere, I guess. Sorry for butchering that. That's a town in Finland. What do you think, Rik?
A wealth of choice. I'm just trying to choose. Well, okay, let's go to one that I've been to, I suppose. So let's go to Osaka.
Osaka. Oh, good choice. Wait, so you used to live in Osaka, was it?
I didn't live in Osaka. I used to live in Japan. I lived in Japan for 3 years. I was an English teacher, and I lived in Kumamoto Prefecture, which is on Kyushu. It's the furthest west you can go in the mainland islands. Any further west, and you have a big expanse of ocean, and then Okinawa.
That's the same island where Fukuoka is it?
It is Fukuoka, is the capital of Kyushu, and beautiful city, really really nice city. It's the biggest city by far on that island, and we used to go there all the time. Really nice place.
Oh, great. Well, here we are, and I hope it evokes some memories. We're in the Dotonbori district of Osaka. Give us a little bit of a rundown, Rik. Where are we? What is this place? Like, what are we seeing here?
So Dotonbori is fans of the Yakuza game series may recognize Dotonbori. This is essentially the big social district of Osaka, as you can probably tell from the artwork. And this is the sort of place that comes alive after dark. During the day, we wandered through there, and it's quite... I mean, obviously the billboards are still around, but it's quite... you could walk through it without realizing where you were. But then as soon as the sun comes down, you get this sort of forest of lights just appearing from nowhere. And obviously the version that Ricardo's expertly done here is sort of extrapolating out what the sort of entertainment district of Osaka would look like in 30 years time or so. But it's not that different. Like in terms of sort of it smacking you in the face with neon lights, that's pretty much what you're getting. So yeah, it's an experience just walking around that place.
And please correct me if I'm wrong, Ricardo, but this is probably one of the earliest locations we did. Is that right? And I remember...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I remember we there was a lot of exchange between you and me as we were trying to figure out exactly how to portray it, the angle, the location in Dotonbori, what kind of... by the way, every single ad, every single billboard that you see there, we had to think up of what to write. So, we came up with a fictional Osaka Air, and that famous Running Man billboard that's quite a common, this iconic board that's there right now. We've replaced it with a robot. Can you talk a little bit, Ricardo, about your experience crafting this? And this is one of the most shared locations, if I'm not mistaken, on our social media channels. It's one of the most appreciated locations in the game.
I think that this one was maybe the first scene that we made outside of Singapore.
Yeah.
Like, I think that it was this one and London, if I remember well. So, for this one, we just got the visual language of the game. like the right mood, the right aesthetic for the game. It blew up on this one because all of this neon thing and all the movement. It's of course there's the big ad with the latest that is a nod to Blade Runner, to the latest one. So it was one of the most lit scenes of the game, I think.
Yeah, the brightest, most well lit parts of the
And
game.
and it evolved well because with the post, the first version of this scene, it was didn't have the gloom effect, and this came just after a year in the process, in the development, I think. That we got the Unity thing, the post-processing inside of Unity, the lighting. And, it took a while to get to this version, and I loved it so much.
Yeah, it's really lovely. My personal favorite part of this scene is the way the neon lights reflect on the canal, on the water in the canal. What a lovely touch, Ricardo. So good job. I want to ask Chai actually. Chai, have you been to Japan?
No, everybody tells me I should.
Good, because that makes the two of us. I've embarrassingly, even though I live in Asia, have never been to Japan.
Great.
Oh yes, Ricardo, you've not been to Japan actually. Well, there you go, Chai.
Okay.
Like Dotonbori district in Osaka is the first destination you have to go if you ever visit.
Yeah, that's what I'm actually telling myself. I'm like, yeah, I definitely need to check it out. See, if the real life actually holds up to how good it looks like this.
Yeah, and and I'm sure I'm sure it's just as charming in real life without all the robots and the police drones and the holograms.
I know, I'm gonna be so disappointed.
Well,
although, was it you who sent me a picture of police of robot dogs in Singapore?
Yeah.
And I was like, this is a bit too similar to our game.
So the other week I sent Chai this picture of those Boston Robotics dogs. They were patrolling the parks in Singapore last year enforcing social distancing, and she was like, "Oh my god, how dystopian!" Oh, we have a visitor in the stream. Hello, Cat. Is that Pixel?
This is you.
You guys are blending into the background. It's like a fever dream.
You're disappearing, yeah.
Well, okay, folks. We're gonna move on clockwise to Chai. Chai, what do you think is either your favorite location in the game, or one that you sort of have kind of like a personal or sentimental link to, some place you've been to, or maybe some place you've lived before? I know you're a very well traveled person since young. So where do we go?
There's a lot of places I really like, but I think the London one is one of my favorite. You can see it behind Rick.
Cool.
And it's so nice. It's the difference between the daylight and the evening. And it's one of the first, when I played the demo, so I first played the game, not being part of the team, and I remember playing that demo and seeing those locations and just falling in love with the game. Like, I want to work on that. So that has a bit of I like that location.
No, same here. I think, again, and I'll get Ricardo to talk about it in a second. I thought, I believe, Osaka during the daytime. I believe that London was actually the first location before Osaka to be done. First location outside Singapore. Gosh, it was unbelievable. I told Ricardo, Ricardo, could you take it from the angle on of the banks of the Thames and looking at the iconic that Big Ben Tower side of the city, because I want to show them that the city is sort of it's dark, it's not that well lit. The buildings are being renovated because they've somewhat aged over time, and that there was a lot of dereliction in the foreground, and you'll see it during the nighttime. You'll have squatters and folks hanging around in the banks, like right there. Oh, that's amazing.
I think Osaka was really great in like creating this like there's a name for it, this kind of cyberpunk thing that people expect.
Yeah.
But I think London was a bit less expected. Like this, I feel like there was a lot of storytelling that came through just the images, the different time of days, and I really like how you really felt like you were discovering more. There was more depth to the world than just your generic stuff. I really love it.
Oh, for sure. When was the last time you were in London, Chai?
A while ago. I stopped keeping track during COVID. Like my understanding of time vanished. But a year ago, probably.
Okay.
My sister lives there.
Okay, that's great.
She's got beautiful views of the Thames.
I can't remember the last time I was home. London isn't home for me. I'm a northerner through and through, so London is. I lived in London for 4 years, so I have memories of it. But I think it sounds like Chai, you've been back there earlier than.
So I never lived there either. I'm a northerner as well. My sister lived in London, and she does tend to have great pictures. But that's it. I just go there as a tourist.
Yeah.
Oh, London's a beautiful city. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
But as a northerner, you go down there and you just grumble about the price of everything.
Oh my god.
So expensive.
That's
There's
what I
no
enjoy.
rags.
Yeah. No,
That's what I enjoy about London. Like the moaning is half of the fun.
Yeah.
It's a tradition. I mean, before I pass it on to Ricardo, I was actually going to mention, guys, that a vast majority of the locations worldwide, even the ones in Singapore that Ricardo did, are places that he's never been to. Well, he's been to Singapore, but when he was doing up those locations, he hadn't been to Singapore at that point. So it was a lot of imagining, a lot of creative license. But London is one of the places Ricardo's been to. So were your experiences traveling to London, did it inform your art, Ricardo?
Yeah, exactly. In fact, the reference image for this background was a picture that I took.
Oh.
Like, I was in London in 2018, I think, for the Adventure X. It's a convention about narrative games, like adventure games. And I was with another game over there, and I met lots of lovely people from adventure games, like the people from Gibbles, Dave Gilbert as well.
Dave Gilbert.
I took this picture there, like, and in the picture there's a detail that is not on the art, my finger.
Yeah.
But London is a lovely city. Like it's at least as a tourist, because there's so much different stuff to do, and you see it's a cosmopolitan city.
Yeah.
Like you see people from all over the world mix it together. It's beautiful to see this.
Yes, I remember,
But-
especially at night, all the different nationalities. It's amazing.
Yeah,
Yes,
very
Streets
multicultural.
talking to each other.
Unfortunately, there's stuff like Brexit as well. So not everyone is welcome over there. So there's a
Yeah.
good thing, but there's not so good things as well. Like every place in the world, like in Brazil, for example, we got a lot of natural beauties, but we got a corrupt government. So
Yeah.
it's ups and downs every time.
Oh, look at that,
And one of
guys!
the-
It's evening time.
It's beautiful.
Hey.
Do we have the information, the little blurb for London
Yeah,
as well?
yeah. I think we do. Let me check that
Because
out.
I love those features. I've been like checking them out, being able to see
Yeah,
like,
those
a
are
bit
really
of the
cool.
history.
Oh,
Yeah.
Chai, thank you for reminding me. Okay, let me read out this information. So this the information. So each city has this little information icon. You click on it, and you get a little bit of the history of the city. So this one reads, for centuries, London was at the heart of global history. Once the capital of a massive empire, it has also been the conduit of cultural and scientific achievement. Very true. Its many landmarks are instantly recognized by people from every corner of the world. You have Big Ben, London Bridge, Westminster Abbey, the Shard, Piccadilly Circus. The list goes on. The decline in this. So this is where we start to take some creative license and imagine what London is like in 2037, in the 2030s. So it
I
goes.
think the first sentence is pretty accurate as to where we are now, to be honest.
Oh, really? Well, I would defer to you, Rick. You'd know better than I would. But it goes on and says, the decline in the cities and the country's prestige and vitality mirrors the overall shift of geopolitical power elsewhere. An economy that was battered by financial crises and the COVID pandemic has led to a deterioration of London's fortunes, but its resilience and allure continues to attract bright minds and opportunists. So, this again, like we had to do real research behind the history. Yeah, so each city will also have 3 dates. The first 2 dates are real events. So, 40s during the Common Era was the origins of Londinium. In 1851, the Great Exhibition of the Works of Industry of All Nations was held in the Crystal Palace. And then 2030, Nelson's column is destroyed in a violent protest. The sculpture of Nelson was reassembled and bought by a private collector. It is currently on temporary exhibit at the Etihad Museum in Dubai. So this was a lot of fun writing because we had to create a fictional version of fictional imagining of the cities. But of course, hopefully, all cities in the future would end up being more prosperous and peaceful than being so destructive in our imaginings of the world. Fairly accurate, Rick? Does it get your stamp of approval?
Yeah, that's great. Like, you can see it happening. Like, honestly, it's fingers crossed, obviously, that it doesn't, and that our future is a little bit less grim than the future we've painted in the game. But yeah, no, I think London right now is a it's the center of a country redefining its relationship to the world, and change is often violent, and I mean violent as in not just physically, but sort of culturally and emotionally. So London is, I haven't physically been back in a good few years now, but obviously I'm an avid follower of politics. I live in France right now, which is, I didn't mention before, I'm actually living in France and have been for a few years. But watching London and the UK politics in general from afar, sometimes let's just say I'm glad it's from afar.
That's very well put. I think the world in general is going through some changes. So, it's rich material for writers. But we continue to hope that things get better for everyone. Okay.
It's such a weird thing, right? Going into dystopian dark games and you're enjoying the vibe, you're enjoying the history, and then reality starts to mimic a bit too much, and you're like, I don't like that as much anymore.
But that's absolutely right, Shai. That's the beauty of it. That's life imitating art, right? Like that's the fun in writing this stuff, is seeing it, become reality. But folks, there you have it, London.
I think the next game you write should be like super positive.
Yes, yes, no violence.
Smiles.
Let's change the direction.
It's like a cat daycare nursery simulator. You just play with the cats all day. That's it.
Yeah, and then let's see if life imitates arts this time around.
Super. Punch Nazi, the game.
Punch Nazis, the game. Hey man, sounds like a great idea.
Super positive.
Folks, my choice for our next city is something that I want to get the two up here to talk about. I actually want to go to Paris. I remember Ricardo receiving the brief for this city. It was during a very, very, very busy time in development. The programmers, the artists, the animators, Rick and Gwen were, it was super, super busy, super crazy. And Ricardo, what I love about Ricardo is even if you push him, he will not rush. Even if you tell him, Ricardo, can you please, expedite this, he will not, because he's all about, he really takes his time to put quality into his work, as you can see. And I'm glad he didn't listen to me, because Paris looks beautiful. Let's head over there now. 1 second. I've booked the flight on the 30th of March 2032 in about 8 hours. So let's wait about 6 hours. That's what I love about this game. You can wait as opposed to literally waiting, like in real life, waiting for the hour. Here we go, board flight, and we're on our way to the lovely city of Paris. Here we are. We don't have we do have the information icon. Okay, before I get my team to chime in, let's read what we've got here. Lovingly known as the City of Light, Paris has been both an actor, and oftentimes in the lead part, and a spectator in the grand theater that is European history. From its relatively humble beginnings as the home of the Parisii tribe, prior to and during Roman administration, to its many peaks as the continent's most influential state, led by larger-than-life kings and emperors, Paris today is better known as a bustling cultural capital. Every year, millions throng to the city to savor Parisian cuisine, shop for designer items, and of course, to capture a hollow memory, which is the futuristic version of a selfie, in front of the Eiffel Tower. Its popularity among global travelers has helped keep it safe from the worst of Europe's economic stagnation. So our vision of Europe, of course, as with the rest of the world in the 2030s, is economic stagnation means that there isn't a lot of, there's a lot of economic strife. But cities like Paris managed to keep it safe from that kind of economic strife thanks to its tourism, which it will always have, in my opinion. It's always attracted millions of people around the world for its beauty and its culture. So let's ask the French native, Chai. Does that pass your seal of approval? Is that a good description of the city?
It does. I've never actually spent a lot of time in France, so I feel I can say that from an absolute tourist point of view, even though it's my own country. One of the things I remember, because I do try to learn about my country, even though I didn't live there, is the amount. This little fact, the amount of Asian people who come to Paris each year, like it's a huge number, but also the amount of support those people need, because apparently Paris can be so idolized, especially romantically in Asia, that people come here expecting the capital of romance, and then they're so underwhelmed that they need emotional support.
Oh my god!
And I think Amira is safe from that. I think Amira can handle herself romantically, emotionally.
No, but
it is a thing.
No, it's true, Chai. A lot of TV series, whether it's South Korean or Southeast Asian or Japanese, a lot of them are shot in Paris. A lot of them are shot in European cities like Paris. Because obviously in Asia, the perception is, Paris is obviously this city of romance.
Yeah.
I mean, is that
there's passion, there's food, there's love, and then you get to France and you realize that French people have a very distinct personality.
Distinct.
And it's not for the weak of mind.
I mean, Ricardo. Hey, have you been to Paris? I never asked you.
Yeah, 2 times. Over there, I spoke the language of love.
What does that
Brazilian
mean?
Portuguese.
Brazilian Portuguese.
Nice.
No, I've been to Paris and Versailles as well. It's amazing. But in Versailles, it wasn't the first time in a decade, I think, that it snowed. So I saw the gardens in snow, and I was with my Converse shoes over there. A Brazilian guy without proper outfit for snow, so I did a walking tour, about 3 hours walking on Converse shoes in the snow. So it was a pretty nice experience.
Lesson learned. What about our resident Englishman in France? Did you spend a lot
of true fake French person?
Yeah. Did you spend a lot of time in the City of Light?
Yeah, a little bit. We were lucky enough to have a friend who had an apartment there, which she didn't use. She would use for it was one of her parents' apartments, and she just didn't use it. And apart from business trips, which she had to make, so we had free accommodation in Paris whenever we wanted to go down there. So yeah, we'd go a few times. And yeah, it's funny that Chai mentioned the sort of Paris syndrome, because yeah, that's certainly something. It's again, like London, it is a gorgeous city, like in a different way. France is much more. I'm not architecturally minded enough to say what style Paris is in generally, but it's a lot more sort of in your face, intricate, shall we say, with its buildings.
It's potpourri.
Huh?
Potpourri.
There we go. I'll take Ricardo's word for it, but it's good. It's gorgeous. Like, but it's also it's a city. It's busy, and it's noisy, and especially because of it, it's a capital. It's full of tourists. I could not imagine living there. It's so busy. Like we got the tube, the metro a few times, especially during peak hours, and it's like. I'm happy. I live in Lyon, which is, depending on who you talk to, the second or third biggest city in France, and I'm quite happy in a city whose population doesn't go into, 7-8 digits. Well, not 8 digits. 7, is that right? That would be 10 million. Is 10 million 7 digits?
I think a million is 7 digits.
Oh, 8 then. 8.
Yeah.
I'm the art guy. I don't know, man.
Yeah. But no, it's gorgeous, and things like the Eiffel Tower are as impressive as they have a reputation, and they deserve to. It's going up the Eiffel Tower is still an experience. It's fantastic.
For sure.
I think we're still. Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead, Chai.
I feel like Paris is actually a really interesting city. It's a beautiful city. I think the French are able to represent it pretty accurately. And when you have a proper idea of what to expect, it's amazing. There's great food, great locations. But when you come from that Hollywood, international, romanticized aspect of it, the reality and the expectations are very different.
About Hollywood. One of the tours that I made by myself in Paris, have you saw the Before Sunset, Before Sunrise series of movies?
Yeah. With
Ethan gorgeous.
I went in almost all of the locations from the movies in Paris. So I went to the Shakespeare & Company library. I went to the arts, like lots of places. I always try to, when I travel, to see some locations from movies. And Paris was perfect for this. It's amazing.
I feel like this series was a very good portrayal of Frenchness and the city.
No, that's great. Just before we pass the baton to our friend Ricardo. Just some tidbits. How do you pronounce this? Chai and Rik? Is it Hugh Capet or Hugh Capet?
I'm going to say Capet, but I don't actually know what it is you're referencing.
Well, our friend Hugh here was elected King of the Franks, kickstarting an era in French history that saw Paris develop into the kingdom's most important city. In 1789... Capet. All right, Hugh Capet. In 1789, Paris is the epicenter of a revolution that would reshape France, reimagine society, and rethink the relationship between the people and their country. And made-up date, 2029, a startup called Danton Aeronautical secures Series A funding, led by Sorbonne graduate Pierre Danton, and opens its main research facility in the Saint-Playel, I'm sorry for butchering that, district. Today, it is a rising star in the field of drone technology with offices in 3 continents. So, it's foreshadowing. Oh, evening in Paris.
Maybe. Ooh.
Yes, it's foreshadowing a really, really intriguing story arc that Rik wrote. One of my personal favorites. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's Paris for you. Mr. Juchem.
One more thing.
Yeah.
About Paris, if you're going to France and find a crush, like a person that you like you met on the streets or in a bar or something like this, you need to say to this person, "Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir?" Okay?
Always work. French people love it. They love it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely say that to any French person you ever meet.
Anybody
They
that
will,
walks towards you,
they will
it's
thank you. They will love you forever.
100% guaranteed.
Yeah,
it's
they
how to
will.
politely say hello. It's how we say hello.
Yeah, right?
You want to say your country is beautiful. You're beautiful. That's how you.
Folks,
That's how you say it.
folks, a very quick disclaimer: do not trust anything we say. Like, just do not take it.
I'm French. I know what I'm talking about.
Oh, great!
I've been there.
And it worked. It worked perfectly. Ricardo, the cockpit of the plane is yours. Where are we going?
Okay, let's show something new to the people. Or not. Toronto.
Toronto,
Never seen before.
Toronto, Ontario. I've been to Canada, but I've never been to Toronto. Let's see.
I've never been to Canada.
We missed.
No,
out.
me neither. I'd love to go to Canada. It's on my list.
It's lovely.
I've seen the snow in Canada, and I've just decided no.
Here we go. Oh, we have. It's in the past. Oh, right. Sorry. There we go. 16:45, which is in an hour. We'll just about make it. Did we make our flight? Yes, we made our flight. Yes.
First time on the internet.
Yes, and here we are in the. Oh, look, a little tutorial popped up. It's a notification that Amira's bills have arrived and she needs to pay for them. If Amira...
Yeah,
Oh no.
she needs to stop going on all these holidays.
Yeah.
This is exactly what happens when you
Traveling
do
the
this in the
world.
real world. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you do this in the real world, you get it's like this is great. I'm having fun, and then they get the emails.
How
The emails
apt.
start.
How apt. I mean, look, if Amira doesn't pay her bills for 2 months straight, it's game over. Just like in real life. Okay, so here we are, folks, in the city of Toronto. And let me pass it on to Ricardo because this was sort of a twist on Toronto. There was a decision we made to portray it like this, and I'll let Ricardo explain.
So basically, Canada is like a dreamland for a lot of people around the world. Like everything's so perfect. So we thought, and if things gone wrong, and they got lots of pollution and stuff like that, and they need to isolate from the pollution. So they need to build a dome outside of the city, and this is my view of Toronto.
That's right. Just like we don't have the information icon for this one yet, but the explanation is there was a nuclear meltdown, kind of like Chernobyl, at a nuclear power plant not far away from the city, and in order to better protect its citizens, the local government of Toronto decided to start building a dome around the city. So we thought that was a really cool twist, a very dark twist on what Toronto is in the 2030s.
It is still a beautiful city, but you're living in a cage.
That's lovely.
I mean, I think I would choose the transparent cage over radiation.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, not much of a choice, right? I mean, I would definitely live inside a domed Toronto, as opposed.
Yeah, I definitely would live in that though. I would love it if you had climate control. So if Canada could like slightly
Yeah.
so that but like if you're gonna have a dome anyways.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, because I'm not going to Canada anytime soon. But if they started implementing climate control, I might go.
Same here. One of the folks in our chat room says, talk about the greenhouse effect, right? Like talk about the climate change crisis that's probably going to affect planet Earth by the 2030s, 2040s, 2050s. Totally relevant, right? Like totally. imagining
I
cities.
can
Yeah, go ahead, Chai.
I can imagine Canada still, protective its wildlife, protecting all its forest. I think it's one of the rare countries
Yeah.
that still that would try
Yeah. In
limit
fact,
ecosystem.
just bouncing off of you, Chai. In fact, one of the things that we wrote into some of the information, background information of some of the locations in Singapore, is a reflection of climate change fears. So Singapore is an island, and there's always the constant fear that rising sea levels would basically swallow up land on the coast. So the government's taking a lot of these measures to kind of build seawalls or build structures that protect the land from flooding or rising sea levels. And I've written it into the description of some of the cities and the neighborhoods in Singapore. So it's certainly something we do like to talk about. What is that, Ricardo? What does it say?
NFT.
What is it? Okay.
NFT.
Our resident anti-NFT protester, Ricardo, of course, taking the opportunity to let his feelings be known about non-fungible tokens.
He's not wrong. I don't think.
Same
I
here.
think he's on the right side of that. Yeah.
Same here. Um, um, Rick, I know that Toronto wasn't really part of the missions just yet, but you'd probably agree that portraying cities in this sort of this payoff, right, of continuing to exist but at a cost, whether it's building a dome or the deterioration of its infrastructure, really set the tone for the narrative of the game, didn't it?
Yeah, because this was part of again the world building is great, but it's got to be there to serve a purpose. So I think what we did when I came on, actually, you'd already. So, for example, the demo, the prologue that's out, and you can download it free and try it on Steam, was all written when I came on. It was you had the world that you created, you had the beginnings of the sort of central mystery, but it was this idea that Singapore was like this holdout, that various forces around the world, be they global warming, be they sort of natural environmental, I say natural elements acted upon by unnatural forces or economic forces had created this world that was on the downward slope from, say, the sort of technical peak of, I don't know, the 2010s, something like that, where the idea of electric cars, they were going to save the world. Back when, the idea of savior billionaires was not something that was just completely...
Savior billionaires, yeah.
Yeah, the idea when a savior billionaire was not a contradiction in terms. The idea when... optimism sort of ruled for a little while, and our world
Before the billionaires realized they could just fly away to Mars.
literally. Well, before we realized that was their plan all along.
Yeah.
Billionaires.
Yeah, like we have well, I'm not going to spoil anything, but we in terms of billionaires, and we address that directly in the game. But these people and the world that they have created in Chinatown is very much on a downward slope.
Yeah.
The power has shifted. So obviously, I see the world from a sort of European-centric viewpoint because I live in Europe. I always have done. All of my news is always about Europe. Living in Europe, you would, even now, you would hardly believe that, amazingly, things do happen outside Europe. Sometimes that, can be quite important.
Just sometimes.
Just sometimes, occasionally, occasionally it makes it through to the news that, something's happened in China. Oh no. Whereas in what we've done in this game is powers have shifted. The Western world is no longer even gets to see itself as the driving force of progress and culture. And instead that's switched over, specifically related to our game, to Singapore, which is one of the cities that has come out of this. We allude to several specific events, but just like the general downward turn, Singapore has come out relatively, not unscathed, but relatively well compared to other countries. And so, again, another story that we have concentrates on the sort of growing pains is the wrong way. It's that idea. It's the struggling idea of the West trying very hard to cling on to its past in the only way it has left. And that was fascinating for me. Like, I wrote, so the mission I'm referring to, I'm not going to spoil which one it is, but I wrote that off a brief from Mark, which was a fascinating one, which is that, yeah, the Western world is no longer, you look back towards something like the Renaissance, it's struggling to recapture even the sense that it once was as important as that. And to see a game that actually had that world where it wasn't Eurocentric, it wasn't American-centric, was really fascinating to come in and sort of try and expand that world in ways that hopefully say something, as well as advancing our central mystery plot, because it is a detective game.
No, for sure. And I felt also, and just let me get back to the game while I say this, I felt also that it wasn't right for me to write that, because it had to be written by someone who lived and experienced what it was like to live in Western society and to see the changes that it's going through. And I think Rik did a really fantastic job, and the way it translates into a detective story in the game was really wonderful. So kudos to you, Rik. That was really cool.
Thank you. I never know how to take compliments, so I'm just gonna disappear on the side here like this.
It's all true. Folks, let's do one quick lightning fast round. Just one more round, one more city, because I really want to showcase some more of these. They're lovely. Rik, where are we going?
Gorgeous. Oh, it's me again.
Yeah.
Okay, so quickly, let me get the stream up so I can see the drop down again, so I can accurately choose a decent place. If you want to click through to the drop down, so I can have a wee little choice.
Look at that.
I'm excited.
It's
because so many of these are gorgeous. Like, I honestly sort of want. I mean, it's weird because it is already in Ricardo's background, but I do want to point out Rio, which. If you look at Rio. The favelas at the bottom there, look how incredible that is.
Sorry, folks. Sorry, Rik. Sorry to interrupt. I just want to let the folks know that I'm reloading, because Toronto isn't actually a place that you can visit in the game. So when I visited it, I think I broke it. I think I broke the game. So I've just reloaded
my
it.
fault.
So
yeah, let's please continue, Rik. So we're headed to Rio.
Yeah, no, and I just want to because I think this was one of the later locations that was finished. Is that right, Ricardo?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was finished fairly recently, I think, and this was one of the most intricate ones I think we have, and I just love it. It's so evocative of. Again, I've never been to Rio, but I really love that background.
Oh.
I keep wanting to refer it as the actual the MLE that we use, but that means nothing to anyone. So I'm.
I also just want to apologize. I also want to apologize to the folks who noticed that when that little airplane icon was flying, the location wasn't accurate, wasn't finished. It showed that we were going to the east coast of Africa, when Rio is actually much further. But the
world has massively changed.
It's not the world.
It's not a bug. It's a feature.
A billionaire bought Rio and transferred it over to the west coast of Africa.
Cool.
Yes.
I'd like to give the floor to Ricardo, because this had some meaning for him as well. When he was doing Rio, he wanted to portray the city and maybe include an Easter egg or a message somewhere in the art that encapsulated his feelings about his country, which is going through some very important changes right now. Ricardo, please.
Yeah, exactly. To portrait Brazil, I wanted to show two things mainly. One is the natural beauty, of course, because you can see this with the beach and the mountain on the back. The Sugarloaf is the name of the mountain. And other is the social issues, because you got the rich people in the buildings, and then the favelas here on the another mountain. Yeah. The favelas are like trench towns in Jamaica, but in Brazil, like where the really poor people live. Basically, every major city in Brazil got favelas. So this was pretty important. And right now, we are living in a hard time for talk about leadership of the country, because we got an anti-vax president, and basically we got South America Trump that is still in the power.
South American Trump.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, it's a global trend.
Yeah, you got Paris over there. And, but we hope to change this next year. And this guy, one of his idols, the president of Brazil, is a torturer from the dictatorship time. Like it's Ustra, the name of the guy that tortured other people. So because of this, I put this little Easter egg here in the mountain that says "Dictatorship Nevermore," because it's pretty important for me. There are people here that support dictatorship, but they didn't live at the time. So, like in cells, like QAnons, something like this.
Yeah.
Trying to translate this to the word. So it's hard. It's a hard time here. About the management of the pandemic here, like we got 60,000 kills, people death. Like more than 500,000 people died from COVID because the government didn't take measures. Like, in fact, the government took measures in favor of COVID, like, oh, go to parties, oh, go, don't vaccinate, and it was horrible. So we're trying to portray this into the game a little bit.
Yeah.
My indignation, like.
Yeah.
Because of this, it was so important, this message on the mountain.
Yeah, for sure. I think, and it was something I encouraged from Ricardo. I thought, like, art has always been an amazing outlet for the expression of one's views, feelings, hopes, and fears. So great work, Ricardo. It's even just the art looks lovely. Just the location itself looks fantastic.
I think in this game especially, I think not just the art, but every part of the people who worked on this game, we all got to put like a little bit of our soul in there, a little bit of our hopes and dreams. I think it's very unique in that way. And what with our team also being from all over the world and having lived very different lives, I think it has a lot of very different little bits to it, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Thank you very much, Ricardo, for that for that brief explainer. I have to load the game again, Chai. Give me a sec, because again, we haven't at this point in the build we haven't incorporated that city just yet, but we will. In the meantime, let's load another game, and let's see. Perfect. So, Chai, where are we headed?
So give me 2 seconds. I need to wait for the stream to
Oh,
show
right,
me
right,
the list.
right, to update.
I don't know them all by heart
Good.
yet. Hmm. Um. It's not easy. Istanbul or Kuala Lumpur? Actually, I really like New Delhi as well.
Ooh.
Let's go to New Delhi.
Let's go. Good choice. I like. I do
Yeah.
like New Delhi, both the real city and Ricardo's rendition of it. One sec, folks. I just want to make sure that we still have time to catch a flight. No, it's gonna have to be the next day. So,
Oh no!
Oh no! It's gonna
Real life worries. What have we done?
Here we go.
Um,
7 8.
Yeah.
That's strange.
I've never been to India. I don't. I would love to go to. I would love to go to New Delhi at some point. And yeah, again, like Mark said, the rendition here is again different from real life, but really, really good, stunning.
Yeah, if the game goes well, let's make Chinatown Detective Agency World Tour.
World tour.
Is
I
it
think
Amir?
also. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say like Chinatown Detective Agency 2 World Tour or Amira on tour, like just her holidays. She's earned a rest.
yeah. It's purely just a game where you take her on holiday.
Yeah.
That's
You have to. Yeah, you actually have to use real world detective skills to find out where the cheapest hotels are.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Ignore your inbox full of.
Yeah,
messages.
just no.
More martinis.
So, sorry, folks.
So I was going to say that my favorite location actually is not an international one, but I think everybody kind of had a huge crush on it. The one with the ice cream shop. Do you know which one I'm
Oh,
talking about?
yeah.
Tanjong
I love that
Pagar.
one.
It's called Tanjong Pagar. It's a neighborhood
Yeah.
here in Singapore. Yeah.
Yes, this is where we need to meet up. It's a beautiful. Well, Ricardo made it so beautiful that this is, I think, where.
Oh, for
He
sure.
did, and there was a little Easter egg of a story inside Pejong. Oh, sorry, Mark. I don't want to butcher the
No,
pronunciation.
but hey, here, I just abbreviated to TP because it's
TP. There we go.
Maybe, yeah, let's do this.
And there's a little Easter egg of a story in TP that Ricardo explained to us as he was revealing it to us, and I loved that.
Yeah, it's great.
But anyways, New Delhi.
New Delhi.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Sorry, folks.
I mean, look at this. This is gorgeous.
Yes. So, Ricardo, take us through this. This is when we were talking about how to portray New Delhi. We didn't want to go the usual route. We didn't want to show the Red Fort or Humayun's tomb or the Parliament. We wanted to show something that wasn't very well known outside of India, and it was the Lotus Temple. So go ahead, Ricardo.
So for this one, we didn't get the perfect shot for the composition. And in a lot of, as I researched for a lot of the backgrounds for the game, I use two tools. One is Google Earth, the 3D mode, to try to get a good shot. And the other one is Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Yeah.
And this shot came from Flight Simulator. Because it's so perfect.
Yeah.
You can set up the time and the weather and stuff like that. It's a perfect tool for study art or photography. And it's basically a free tool. For this, it's like $60, I think, or on Game Pass as well. Oh, Chinatown Detective Agency is going to be on Game Pass, but please buy our game.
Yes. It's the official announcement from Humble Games will be shared with the press and the media today. So you might see an article or two in the next few weeks. Thank you for reminding.
Right.
Yeah, I was just telling Rick before the this stream started. Getting signed to to Humble Games is I suppose you could say getting signed to a record label. So there was a lot of excitement around it. Which is not to say, however, and I just wanted to say this out there for everyone to hear. Prior to Humble Games, the folks that really helped us in the capacity of a quasi publisher, if you will, is our PR partners, Player 2 PR. I think some of the folks are watching the stream. They've been instrumental in the success of the game so far. So they're part of the
Player 2
success. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
They're really, really good. Like, yeah.
For sure.
Biased. I'm biased. I'm very biased, but I love.
For sure.
Everyone over there is ridiculous. Like PR people are supposed to be horrible, but they're really not. They're fantastic.
They're fantastic.
It's
I am PR. I am PR.
Yeah.
I'm hard.
Yeah, no, exactly. I had to rewrite what I thought of as PR people, thanks to Player 2.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, so here's an interesting fact. Our programmer Chai used to live in India in her younger years. Give us just a brief summary of that, Chai.
I wouldn't even know where to start. I always struggled describing India. I think there was a lot of places I can describe. India, I feel like it's two completely different worlds, two opposite extremes, and then you just mash them together, add a bit of spice, and there you go.
Yeah.
No, it was, I think as a child, it was definitely an intense experience. Lots of traffic. I feel like if there's one thing I remember very well, it's just like so much traffic. Lots of great food.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, poverty and absolute mind-blowing richness that is hard to comprehend. Just
I was
to each other.
I was gonna say, Chai, that was so it's actually quite a feature of developing countries that are slowly becoming more prosperous. Is that you will see, and I've seen this when I traveled to India as well, not just to India, even to countries like my own home of the Philippines, where the very wealthy will coexist side by side with the very, very poor. It's a sad sight, but it's sort of a symptom of the how do you say, of the socioeconomic changes of a country becoming more economically successful, I suppose.
And the culture is also very different, so it's not handled the same way would be in European countries.
Right.
And one of the big difference European countries seems to not always get about developing countries, European countries and America tend to assume they're pretty high. They've got technology and infrastructure, and then emerging countries are like, a bit poor and at the same level. And what you actually have is you have a country that's emerging, and then emerging countries actually have the populations adapt so quickly. The technology we have access to is the same, but populations, emerging countries will adapt to new technology so much quicker.
Yeah.
We'll try new things, we'll trend so much quicker.
Yeah.
So it's actually really weird because you go into this world, and this is not just India, this is a lot of, in my experience, Asian countries where the technology coming from Europe is mind-blowing. You feel like you're stepping into the future, especially in Thailand during COVID times. You don't even need to get scanned. Like there's cameras just looking at you, looking at your temperature. Everything is automated. Life is on another level in terms of technology and ease of access and the way people handle stuff. So you feel like you're 10 years into the future, but also the poverty is not always something you're used to seeing. So 10 years into the past, and it's very, very different, I think, than what is portrayed in European media. But also what to expect. It's great. It's great.
For sure. And anyone who's ever been to India will agree that it's a very exciting, very colorful, very vibrant place. I personally enjoyed the very short visit I had in New Delhi and Agra and Jodhpur and Jaipur. But
the colors, are great. The traffic,
totally
has to be experienced.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
when I was a kid, one of my sort of bucket list things was to drive for a day in New Delhi. So we'll see, like, if I ever get to realize that.
I learned to drive in India.
No
Oh, wow.
way.
And
That's so cool.
that has very much affected my view of driving.
Is that why you don't drive? Is that why?
I love driving,
Oh, you do?
but
Okay.
when I drive in Europe, people tend. I don't drive very well in Europe because I'm one of those drivers who's just like looking everywhere. Like, is there a goat? Is there a child? Is there a car coming right at me? And people are like, oh, but you have priority. Like, what are you talking about? What are those rules?
What's priority?
Yeah. And I learned to drive just constant vigilance. And now that I'm living back in Asia, I'm much more in my comfort zone. Like, where we're going, there are no rules. You just try not to kill people, and this is how I drive. And I missed it.
Yeah, no, for sure, and again, even in the way Ricardo portrays the art, it really captures just the just the colors. And just the architectural beauty of places like New Delhi. It was a really tough choice deciding which city in India to use in the game, because there's so many beautiful, lovely cities in India that if you portrayed artistically would look so good. Calcutta, Mumbai, of course, yes. And many of the cities in the south, in Tamil Nadu and in Kerala. So sticking to New Delhi though was probably the right choice, because we wanted to make sure it was a place where there was it's supposed to be an AI hub, a robotics hub. I won't spoil why. Rick's looking at me like do not reveal.
India always has had amazing programmers, a lot of robotics, a lot
Yeah,
of...
like that was certainly what inspired some of it. We just took where it is now and sort of expanded it out over the next 30 years or so, or 20 years or so. So, but yes, no spoilers. I won't say any more on that.
Yes.
I just want to talk about the plot. That's the thing. And we did this because of this and this because of this. I just know. Maybe we can have like a spoiler cast after it's released.
Yeah, I think I was gonna say that that's a good idea, but I actually want to revert back to you now, Rick, because we're going to a place that's very central to the plot, and of course, without revealing too much, I thought it would be really interesting just to talk about why you decided Boston was the city to have in the game.
Oh man, Mark, you can't do this. This is impossible to talk about. The entire game.
Sorry, dude.
Yeah,
I loved it so much when I first saw it. It was beautiful.
It's lovely.
I like the actual environment is incredible. And we'll wait till it pops up there. But yeah, no, Boston is keeping it vague, it appears during the main story.
Look how lovely that is.
Yeah, it's so good. And as you can see, there has been something of a change in ownership over in the US there. And yeah, so this is obviously is that Paul Revere?
I think that's Washington on his mount. I think.
Is it Washington?
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I have actually been to Boston, and there's so many statues of dudes on horses. They all
That's true.
they all blend into one. They are very, very proud of kicking the British.
Horses.
Yeah, I mean, as they should be. They should be very proud of it.
Oh, that's right. Rick, I didn't think about that. Yes, as a British person, is there still 300-year-old grudge, or you're all good? You're all good.
Oh, absolutely not. Like, let's just say America has its own problems now that we won't go into. But I think them kicking us out was not a problem that they were that. I don't think that was a mistake. But Boston is lovely. Like Boston, I was only there for 2 days, and they have the Independence Trail, where you can essentially, it's a pathway that you can walk around, and it takes in a bunch of historic locations. I think it's the counting house, it's the church where, one if by land, two if by sea. There's statues everywhere. There's the graveyard that has like Sam Adams in it, and I think a couple of other sort of revolutionary figures are all buried there. It's incredible to go and see these guys' gravesites. But the theme is very much one of patriotism in what I would call the old sense of the word. Patriotism now has taken on a bit more of a nationalistic slant, which I don't agree with. But patriotism back then was very much related to freedom from empire and
self-determination, right? Like that was what it was.
Yeah, exactly. And that I can fully get behind. And so a lot of the sentiment expressed through, you know, the founding fathers and the people who supported them are admirable. Maybe not the methods they used to build their new country. Relied a little bit. Yeah, like slavery, probably not a great idea.
True.
No, fuck that. Like, sorry, but no. Like, without getting into American politics, obviously, I think the Boston Tea Party thing and all the rejection, you know, the War of Independence. But we come to America in the game in a very different sort of state.
Yeah.
Like we alluded to earlier, it's no longer the powerhouse culturally and financially that it is in our world. Do we have the information? We do have the information button here.
Sure. 1 sec. Here we go. Go ahead, Rick.
And yeah, actually, Adolfo's just pointed out in the chat that it's a new one. And yeah, I think this is one of the later ones, right, Ricardo? This is one of the newest locations that was finished.
As well.
Yeah, so obviously capital Massachusetts played an important role in the colonial past of the United States, but across its more recent history, as a center of science and technology. I wonder if that has anything to do with the plot. It played a central role in the tumultuous years of the American Revolution, but today it's better known as the home of companies that have produced important innovations in the field of computer science, robotics, and artificial intelligence. However, unrest in and around the city, motivated by the growing hardships caused by the egregious socio-economic policies, has led to increased crime and a decline in public safety. But behind the turmoil, the brightest minds this side of the Mason-Dixon line continue to pursue the next technological breakthroughs. So yeah, similar, like you think of Boston, there's also Harvard, there's MIT, there's these centers of progress and technology. And again, similar to what we've done with other locations, we've expanded that out a little bit, given them a sort of a rocky road to travel down as well. But they've come out the other side still being centers of thought, if not of influence. And actually, I haven't read this information thing, so I'd be really interested to know what 3 dates you've got here.
Oh, sure. 1 sec. You'll love it. Here we go. So
because so I'm one of the writers on the game. So I wrote the main mystery, the main plot line of the game. But we also had Gwen, who came in to do one of the client strands, trees, arcs, And Mark, you did the prologue and all of these info things. And also Mark obviously is the mind behind the concept of the game. Like, you came up with the world setting, a mirror, all of the sort of
main characters. No?
Yeah, main characters, like pretty much all of them. Like honestly, the characters were a joy to write, and they all came from Mark. I just took them and ran with them.
And made them so much better. So good on you.
No, better's not the right word.
Although, my favorite character is not even a writer character.
Oh,
it's this guy, the Slippers.
Oh,
isn't that like a Kickstarter? Like, yeah, he's great.
Slipper guy? Who's Slipper guy?
Oh, he appears for like one scene, but he is kind of.
You will remember him.
Yeah, he's a bit quirky. So yeah, I get Chai.
I'm going to ask you where he appears after we finish the stream. I want the specific mission so I can use it.
I think that the animators did a great job creating him. And
oh shit!
Totally.
Yeah. We should talk about the animators as well.
Totally.
Those guys like. So good, it's one of the two joys many joys in working for this project, but the two joys that I've had as a writer on this project is one, getting to hear because we have a lot of the lines are voiced, so getting to hear the dialogue that I wrote be turned into something entirely better and more effective by the voice actors we've hired, all of whom, correct me if I'm wrong here, are local to at least the sort of Singaporean actors and characters. They're all I think most, if not all, are local to the area.
Correct.
So that's one of the joys, and the other one is to see the characters animated on screen, because our animators have just done such an incredible job.
Yeah, totally. Ricardo being the art director, and the animator team, they've got like a little romance going on, because the animators love Ricardo's his environments, his locations, and Ricardo loves the animations. So sometimes the art channel in our Discord is like two people going like, "You look great. No, you look great. No, you look great."
You, it's you.
Yeah, totally. Ricardo, I just wanted to ask, like, this is one of my favorite locations you've done. I love how you put people in the foreground. At night, there's that person, standing by the statue. Those are all your decisions. You made those choices to portray them like that. In the foreground, you see trees without leaves. It gives that kind of, like cold, like depressing mood. Like, what inspired you to do it this way?
Drug dealers.
Drug dealers.
Yeah. These two guys are changing money for drug. It's like
Is that it?
Yeah, exactly. And in the night,
you can see something in their hands, can't you?
Yeah, something white, I think. All right, okay.
The one seated near from the statue, he is an addict.
Ah, I see.
I'm guessing the US still doesn't have any good addiction centers.
No.
Or healthcare.
No. And the drug.
I think that priority has probably dropped off their radar, given what's happened to them.
Yeah, and the drug war can.
Our insurance. Our health insurance.
Or health,
in general,
health insurance.
I don't think it's got any better in our world now.
Unfortunately. Well, I mean, it's lovely, but. Having said that, and because we've only got about 5 minutes left, I wanted to give Ricardo a chance to pick one last location. So go ahead, Ricardo.
Go.
Here we go.
Are you gonna wait till the last second? Just like, 5 minutes, go.
Dublin. Oh, we don't get the
Dublin? Not yet.
Dublin, not here yet.
Not yet. Oh, let me see. Oh, let's go to the beach.
Oh, where? What beach?
Victoria.
Oh, sorry, 1 second. I'm alt tabbing different windows. Victoria in the Seychelles. What I'd give to be there right now, gosh.
Says the guy on an island.
Says the guy near the equator. Sunny days.
Yeah.
Here we go. Yep. That should be enough of a wait. Because our flight. All right. Chai and to Jen, who isn't with us. Chai, thank you so much for doing this. Like, the game functions so well. I book a flight. I get there. It's so nice to see it. In the early days, in the very, very early days, like alpha stage, you'd book a flight, you crossed your fingers, and you hope that it would work.
Yeah.
And now everything works super smooth.
I think the one...
There was a lot of pain involved in fixing all those bugs. The flight system was not fun.
Yep.
There's the one we should have kept in was the Dimitrescu bug. When Amira would walk into a scene and there was a much smaller version of Amira already in the scene that made new Amira look like a giant, and it was great. It was like, we should have kept that. It should have been a meme format.
Amira got cloned very often in the game. That was one of the most recurring issues.
It was
little
so
Amira
bizarre.
spreading around.
Yeah, little.
Just
Amira.
like tiny little Amira. Yeah, like.
It's such a David Lynch kind of bug, Like
it was great.
Hey, but here we are, folks, on the beach with Ricardo and his sunglasses. He's ready. All right, Ricardo, take it away. What are we looking here? What are we looking at here?
The beach.
The beach.
Holidays, finally.
after the game launch.
Yeah.
After the game
Wouldn't that
release.
be lovely? Wouldn't that be lovely?
So we got some super rich boat over there, like an yacht. I don't know the English
Yacht.
pronunciation.
Yacht.
Yeah.
Yacht.
Yacht. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, yacht.
indeed.
Fancy. Fancy. Yeah.
Indeed, yacht. So, and it's like a place to get get out of the crowded neon lights. Like, I wanted to to go against all the grittier, darker thing on this one. So it is one of the few environments that is lighter. It's like
Wow, isn't that romantic? It transitions to the sunset, Ricardo, while you're talking.
Nice.
yeah, it's like it's the land of love. They speak the language of love, Brazilian Portuguese. But I'm doing this like an Italian person.
You got it
I
all
don't
mixed
know
up.
anymore.
Yeah, I was like, well, what's Italian doing in there?
I think that I saw the guy that won the Game of the Year on the Game Awards.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
It Takes Two, because he got this energy while talking, like he's super. But it's you can see it's a different background if you take all of the others in the game. Like it's almost peaceful.
Yeah, it feels very peaceful.
For sure. Thanks.
I want to be in there.
I think so do most of us. No, it looks lovely. And again, I think the 8 locations we just saw offer up just how diverse. They show just how diverse, the character and the feel of the locations in the game are, and it's all a group effort. It started from the writing, and then it's Ricardo's interpretation of those places. And then, of course, Chai and Jen and the rest of the team will feedback on how, on what would make the experience better, whether it's changes to the assets of the art or changes to the actual game design. How the game comes together, just the past 2 years have been just a wonderful exercise in teamwork. And we're hoping that once it releases in spring 2022, our players will appreciate the work that went into this, because it really is just a labor of love. And with
It
that,
was.
you're right. It's been and I've come to consider my teammates over here as more than just my colleagues. They've been
Yeah.
really, they've loved and been very passionate about this game as much as I am. As I have. So, folks, thank you so much for those watching this live on Twitch. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. For those watching this on Steam as our looping broadcast, if you missed the first part, stick around because the video is gonna loop.
Gonna go back again.
Yes, it's going back again. So,
Really?
yeah. Yep, that's how it works. So yeah, I mean, folks, thank you so much again for joining us, and please do stay tuned for more streams of various different natures of content. Sometimes we'll play games, sometimes we'll talk about the game, about CDA. Sometimes we'll just have banter and just talk about whatever. Mm-hmm. So please join us for the next one. Rick, Chai, Ricardo, thank you so much to you guys. Any parting words?
In 30 minutes, probably we are going to have a surprise.
Oh, what's that? What's the surprise, Ricardo?
What?
What is it?
We don't have a surprise for today.
I don't think we do. Do we?
Oh, it's tomorrow, so nothing. Bye, people.
Everyone needs to check their marketing calendar to make sure that everything. But I think what Ricardo is referring to though is that Humble will be making the official announcement that the game will be finally releasing on PC, on Xbox, and on Switch spring 2022, and we're super excited and happy about that. So please keep an eye out for that. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, folks. So that's it for us. And see you again in the next stream. So bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.